One of the questions, obviously people come to us about is, I really am passionate about cybersecurity. I'm passionate about information security, information technology. I want to get into this industry, but it's really hard. I have no experience and they want experience. How do I do it? There is ways to do this. You'll have to be very disciplined, very creative, thinking outside of the box, but there are ways. And on this video, I'm going to take you through a couple of them. Again, we need good people in this industry, and I'm hoping that some of the people watching are maybe thinking about getting into the industry. We need you. I hope that you'll consider it. And if you are, I have some tips from my own experience of getting into the industry. One of the first things I think that's really, really important is to find a mentor. I was very fortunate to have many mentors. I still do. I always look at certain individuals as my mentors to learn to, because we're always learning. And those mentors can help you to kind of dodge some of the mines, without having to go through them yourself. One of the key things that was always taught to me that really, really has helped me over my time in this industry, especially since I started out on more of the technical side, was do not focus specifically on the technical per any type of vendor or product. Instead, understand the principle and theory behind the technology. What you will find is what I have found is that most technology, even today, some of the most cutting edge stuff that is out there, utilizes some of the oldest technology principle and theory as to how it works in the back end. The reason why understanding principle and theory is so much more important than the technical itself, knowing the commands, for example, to make something happen on a particular device or a type of box, is you understand how data is moving from point A to point B, or how data is being blocked, or how data is being stored and saved, or how to recover data. All of these components of management of this critical infrastructure and data is more important than these commands. Commands can be memorized and learned. The more you touch these devices, the more you're going to remember them, and it's going to become second nature to you. But understanding how they work, is a different challenge that I hope you think about while you're learning this technology. Don't just get caught up in the buzzwords. Get caught up in the actual understanding of how things work. And if you can do that, you can become successful anywhere. Because if it's a new bunch of technology that you don't know of, or it's a vendor you don't know of, or it's a command line that you're not as familiar with, once you understand what the technology does, because you understand how that technology works, the technology itself, that is what will allow you to be successful with any environment that you're in, with any company that you work for, or if you're getting into consulting like myself, to help your clients to quickly adapt and to be able to understand, back to another point we made earlier of going above and beyond, how you can take the original assignment, the original deliverables, and potentially add more value because you truly understand at a deep level how this technology works, where you can leverage new ideas, new controls, new processes, new technology, new ideas, and even tactical responses based on your understanding of cybersec itself, not just the particular technology. I already discussed on an earlier video making sure that you look at the different industry certification paths that are out there. I think they're very, very important, and you definitely need them. Most companies will not let you in without some of these designations, depending on, again, on what it is, what area of IT and or cybersec that you're getting into. Another aspect, again, back to the hands-on practical experience. How do you generate that if you're not working anywhere? That is, a real thing. For example, in some financial institutions, they won't hire you unless you're a part of a financial institution already, which seems to be a very difficult proposition. How do I get in if you can't get in if you haven't been in before? So my suggestion is you have to build your own portfolio. And how do you do that? A lot of pro bono work. So that pro bono work can be helping organizations that don't have the capacity, the finances, to maybe hire certain firms. Now, you have to be careful here. You do need to have insurance on yourself because what we do is handling critical data. So you do need to have some protection behind yourself. That will take a little bit of a financial commitment on your own part. But by doing some of these works for groups that may be not-for-profit, that need this kind of assistance or guidance, with the understanding, perhaps putting that understanding in there that you're giving best effort advice, that you are still a student and or just getting into the industry, you'll have to discuss that just to make sure you're safe and you're protected. You do need to look at ways to build up your portfolio. And if you don't want to go there, you can just start with family members, helping people, create a network environment for their homes, for example, or increasing security for those networks within those homes. These are little things that you can do. You can also go to certain companies that are usually bigger companies and come on as a student, a co-op student. And they will take you on, sometimes with pay, sometimes without. And they will be, what they're giving you is the opportunity under a larger organization where you don't have to worry as much about insurance to make sure you don't break anything and cause trouble in your life. And they will also have obviously experienced people that you are mentoring off of, that they are helping you to develop your skill set, to develop communication skill sets, to be able to understand tactical and strategic thinking, to be able to understand that principle and theory I talked about on an earlier video, how things work, how data works in regards to traversing those infrastructures, what different components within that infrastructure do when they block or allow or do other things for disaster recovery and business continuity. So all of these different things you're learning from these co-op positions, from these student positions, from these, whatever these positions would be called within that organization. So you should actively seek this out. It's difficult because, especially if you're in another business that's not cybersec or IT or information security, how do you pay the bills along the way? I know many people that had to really sacrifice, and I'm not telling anyone to do that. I'm simply saying sometimes that is the path. You have to, your time is the hardest thing. People that have families, that have children, trying to make a change into a different field can be very, very challenging. So you have to go by what you think is manageable, and you have to be realistic as well as to what you can do with your time. But there really is no way around it. You have to be creative. Maybe that's making a website for yourself. Maybe that is building your own virtual environment and creating security solutions for it. Maybe you just don't want to risk going out there without insurance and you want to just build your own stuff. Sure, you can do that too. There's different kinds of applications out there, environments that people can, I don't know if there's any free ones out there. You got to be careful with those too. But some of them you have to pay for. But you can build your stuff there and you can show through evidence, pictures, you can make your own case studies basically on these things that you develop. And that can be a part of your portfolio when you go to interview. You can say, what did I do? Well, I created this infrastructure and I put in certain attack scenarios that I wanted to test out. And I put in solutions to those attack scenarios. And I blocked X amount this way. Here's a case study for this, for a DDoS, denial of service attack. Or this is something I did to improve cross-site scripting, and how to improve better coding. I did these things, and here's some of the different controls that I put into place. So you have to be out of the box thinking. You've got to be creative. You have to work within your own risk tolerance. You've got to be able to operate within your own budget and your own time. So to understand what other responsibilities that you have. But I guess if I have one point, it's that there is a way. If you can really sit yourself down, be efficient with your time, be creative, think outside of the box, look at, do your research to see what opportunities are out there. I always believe that there's a way for you to gain this experience and to utilize the time while you're waiting to get into this industry, while you're maybe doing certifications, to find ways to build up your skill set, to build up your portfolio. It's not easy. It does take a lot of discipline, and it takes a lot of time, but it can be done. And I think it's worth it in the end. If you love this industry especially, and you really want to get into it, and you're passionate about it, there's ways for you to do it and to become, again, what we need in this community, a very technically adept, socially adept, and process adept individual who understands the principle and theory of this technology that can help cybersecurity as a whole.